And hopefully I don't disconnect again my signal. Oh my gosh. Soon we will have strong internet. I will be in a real home, not in a barn situation soon.
You know you're gonna sneak out that barn and spend the night out there once or twice a week.
I'm staying here. The others are moving. Well, Jay, obviously, luckily, we're very fortunate. A lot of us may know Jay already. He is a realtor, a charter boat captain. Do they call you captain? Do you actually go by captain at charter with your boat?
I didn't go to 7 years of sea school to be called Mr.
That is awesome. And of course, a wine aficionado. You're definitely a true definition of an entrepreneur. It's amazing right now to see a lot of people that are out there and they talk about, people who are successful in these multiple streams of income. And a lot of times you'll see people, they kind of spin off other things, but you truly have compartmentalized multiple different streams of income, which I think is really kind of key. And so I've always admired that about you, Jay. And of course, being a male, that's, I think, just phenomenal. You've been a go-getter from the get-go. So we'll just kind of get moving. We're definitely going to have time for Q&A with Jay. If you guys have any questions, we do have, did you see the list? I did pull a few questions.
I was like, only 14 pages, 5 minutes before the call. I can handle that.
It's fine. I was like, hey guys, what are your questions to some of our leaders? And whew, it was like boom, boom, boom. So
but
just
thank
a
you
little
for
bit
the
about
kind
yourself.
words. You're very sweet.
Well, to have learned you. So you start with Scott Seller, and why did you join?
So I started I joined in about middle of December 2018, if I remember right. So I missed all of Q4. Joined at the probably worst time. But I really only joined to get my wine discounted and to maybe get a little free wine here and there. And hey, Carrie, can you mute? Thank you. Sorry, you sound like Darth Vader echoing in my speaker over here. But anyway, so I joined that, and I just kind of started sharing the wine with friends. I was like, maybe this will take off, maybe it won't. If not, I'll just get mine, discounted and hopefully get some free wine. And that first full month in January, I remember getting a call at the end of the month and somebody told me, they said, you're in with Reach of Caroline. I said, what does that mean? They're like, she's like the queen bee. Nobody knocks her off, and you're within reach. Are you holding back sales? I said, yeah, I am. I want to have 3,000 next month because I want to get 25% commission every month. And they're like, don't do that. Don't do that. And it ended up being a mistake because I could have got her that first month. And then it took me just until last month, almost 3 years later, I finally got her. It took that long after making that mistake. But I don't know what happened that first month. It was just crazy. I mean, I was having 3-4 people over every night of the week. And people were coming over and loving the wine and trying it and buying the wine.
That's funny. So competitive. We're going to add that to one of your strategies. Competitive. A little small streak of competitive.
I'm a little bit competitive.
All right. That's okay. And have you ever done any type of other direct selling, commission-based kind of thing? I mean,
I have not. I'm a complete noob and don't know what I'm doing in the whole MLM realm. So I'm learning every day. I'm listening to stuff, reading stuff, and just trying to figure out and navigate my way, just because I had no clue what I was doing when I started.
And you didn't have any reservations. I know this question. I'm already going rogue. Wow, this is why I don't do this. But I love that, because did you have any reservations about direct selling or hear anything? Did you have any kind of already,
Yeah, I mean, there's the stigmas that are out there, but I'm kind of person, I just don't give a rip. And if I want to do something, I won't do it. If I don't, I'm not. And my wife will attest to that. So I didn't really care. I mean, I still catch hell. I mean, I've been doing this almost 3 years and, make good money with it as a, additional stream of income. And I still get hell from my friends, and I just laugh at them all the way till I cash them the check.
Right. With the wine in hand, with your sippy cup.
With my pinky out.
Did you have to learn that? No.
Yes, it was not in my DNA. I did not have the silver spoon in my mouth, so it was not in my DNA.
And then why? So you've personally marketed how much now? You are
Right
over
at
200.
215,000, I believe.
That's incredible. That is so incredible. And then we're going to like talk a little bit more about your customer marketing kind of sales strategy, and then a little bit about your recruiting. We'll kind of break it down into, and so how do you gain new customers, especially now that you've been doing this away, and then how do you reach out to get reorders? Kind of a two-part question in regards to customers.
I'll start with new customers first. I make sure I talk about what I do in my product and I share it religiously. I'm terrible about tastings. I've done a handful in my 3 years, but not many, just because I don't know, for whatever reason, I feel like the ladies are better at it. I feel like the ladies are hey Haley, can you I feel like the ladies are better at organizing those. I get told maybes and then I forget about it, and I'm just not good at organizing tasting. So I've always just tried to share the wine, give somebody a bottle, send somebody a $25 tasting set, whatever way I can give it to them. It's amazing that when you give somebody what they perceive to be $100 worth of wine, that 4-bottle tasting set that costs you $25, how indebted, if they like the product, how indebted they feel to you. And they're just appreciative, and they want to build that rapport with you. And so that, I think that's gave me a lot of curry with customers. And I'll never forget, I had one tasting, and I've done some things that we tell people not to do, but I had one tasting I took 4 bottles to, and they were not wowed. They're like, yeah, we just typically drink higher end stuff. And I didn't know that going into it. I wasn't prepared. And so I left, went straight home, got a bookbinder, a Bernhard, another French, I think it was the Domaine Chapuis, and white, and one other fancy red that I had. Right back there and opened all 4 bottles and tasted those, like, yes, this is our jam. And I sold a pile of wine like that. So, you got to follow. I mean, I follow my gut. If I feel like, I'm not going to, chase after sales if I don't feel like they're there. But if my gut's telling me that I can do something to make it happen, I'll do it. And then as far as customer retention, I don't post and pray. I feel like a lot of people depend on social media to get them sales. And to me, social media is not getting you sales. Yeah, you might get one here or there, but it's not doing it for you. Social media is a touch point to remind people that you do it, to me. And so then when you see them in public, they may ask you about it. Or they can ask you what you're up to, and you say, oh, I've been doing this and that, and my wine business is taking off, and keep going. They go, well, yeah, I saw something about your wine business online. Tell me about it. And it can just be a good gateway to start talking to people. But I'm a big phone, and I know a lot of people hate talking on the phone, but I build relationships with people, and that's probably why I do have strong customer retention, is because I have a relationship with every single one of my customers. I'd rather talk to them on the phone than send a text. And to me, email is completely useless. I mean, putting out a newsletter or something like that to your customers to get a touch point in so that they know that you're still thinking about them and you're bringing things to their attention is fine. But I wake up every morning to 300 new emails. I cannot possibly go through them all. I look at them, the subject, and if it doesn't even remotely seem important, it gets deleted. And I feel like a lot of people are doing that these days. So I'm big into talking on the phone, and I'll text and try to have it personalized, just because I feel like that gets me, the relationship, and gets the people come back to me, gets them sending their friends to me. And then I build relationships with them. Some of my customers, I looked at it one time. I haven't looked at it recently, but my customer list at one time, it was 50-50 people I knew before I started this and people that I didn't. And some of my biggest and best customers are people I never knew before I started this. And it was all because of asking for referrals from, other customers, or getting introduced to people from other customers, and built from there. And the way that I try to service them is and my phone, when somebody becomes a customer, and I can't speak to Android users, I'm sorry about that. I'm an iPhone Apple guy. I like my Apple universe ecosystem, whatever they call it. But in the contact list, you've got a place for a company. I put wine, and then I can go in my contacts, and in the search, I can, put wine. You can even use the wine emoji. That's what I've started doing now. And so I put the wine emoji in, and the list of all my customers pops up. And as I'm driving down the road after my charter, or I'm driving around looking at real estate, going from, part of town to part of town, I can look in my list and say, who have I not talked to? Who should I reach out to? And then my customers that are pretty repetitive, I have a wine club customer that gets 12 bottles mixed every month, but she also needs an additional case a la carte because of the amount of wine they drink and the number of people they entertain in their home. They just go through it. And so I know that I need to touch base with her at the 15th of every month and remind her to give me an a la carte order to get it in for her. So it'll get in because her wine club's, processes at the beginning of the month, and then it's not going to be there till the middle of the month. So she's going to either have to go start drinking grocery store wine unless I remind her. And so that's how I do it. And some people are set up on a 3-month reminder, some people every 2 weeks. And, whatever it is, I like the reminder system on the Apple stuff, because I used to do with calendar reminders. The problem with that is now with facial recognition, you look at your phone and it opens and that calendar reminder is gone like that. Whereas if you use a reminder, until you check the reminder is done, every time you turn on your home screen, it's going to be on the front. All your reminders that are due, if you put a date and time that they're due, are going to pop up and be there. So that's a cool feature. Eventually, if you open your screen like 20 or 40 times without checking it off, it'll go away and new ones will start popping up. But at least I'm getting 15 reminders every time I open my phone instead of the one time when it's a calendar reminder. So that's a trick I use to stay on top of, remembering to get with people. And then, using a CRM like Doe, if you have more spare time to really go after people, to give you a list of generated activities to do that day, who to contact, keep up with your downline and your existing customers and new people to approach about the business or becoming customers.
That's great. That's great. Oh my gosh, that was a lot of information. You went through a lot of questions. No, I love that.
Diarrhea of the mouth right there.
No, that's totally me. But no, so one, you talked about that you've only done a handful of tastings in the time that you've been here. Again, most of it obviously is more of your a la carte and just reaching out. Like, what are those touch points? Are you doing it through your multiple avenues that you're getting out? How did you start? Did you start with contacts, friends? How do you start that relationship with people, and how do you build that?
Of course I start with my friends and family on warm market first, and then you run out of that. So you got to find other avenues, and anybody I talk to knows that I sell wine one way or another. Either I'm blunt and straight to the point, or I work it into the conversation somehow, some way. And I've sold to, you can't be afraid to ask or afraid to tell, whatever you want to call it. I've sold to big events because, I told them I sold wine. I love the opportunity for the business. And, one person's like, oh, you know what? I'd really like to support somebody local. Even though you're a little bit more, I'll buy the wine from you. Or another person was like, for a wedding, is like, you know what, y'all have it. That bottle's really pretty. And they bought Fieldhouse Chardonnay, the $35 bottle one. Who serves $35 bottle of wine at a wedding reception? Nobody, but this girl wanted it because it looked pretty. And you know what? I made a huge sale on it because she bought that. And I forget the red that she picked because of the label. But the point is, you just got to talk to people. You got to tell everybody what you do. On my fishing charters, I have all my water that I drink for the day and Scout and Cellar little water, like thermoses or whatever they are. I have them in the cooler. And whenever I need some water, I ask my customer to, hey, would you mind getting my water out of the ice chest for me? I act like I'm doing something or whatever. And they pick it up. They're like, oh, what's Scout and Cellar? And I tell them, like, oh, I love wine. Can I try some? And I keep some in the place where I keep my boat. Yeah, here's a bottle. Try it. Tell me what you think. And, maybe half of them don't buy, but it doesn't matter. It's the half that might buy or the 25% that might buy that I'm interested in. So that's.
I love that.
My answer.
That's awesome. No, I love that. No. Well, and that's one of the questions, those creative kind of sales strategies. I think you and I kind of have that same, you always have that same kind of vibe. I drive around with basically a wine, a wine club box in my car all the time. I'm at the grocery store all the time. And so I leave it open on purpose. And every time I take my cart, I literally wait until I see somebody and I'm like, oh, I have wine in my car. We just make sure nobody gets it. And they're like, wine, you know what I mean? Like it's starting that conversation. And it's a lie half the time.
Oh, when I go to Costco, I keep some bottles and I take some bottles with me and I go into the wine section and I try to find the person I think that might be interested in trying it. And I tell them, hey, come out here, I'll give you a bottle to try. And I've sold wine that way.
That is awesome. What other creative strategies have you done before that you've had some pretty good luck that you'd be like, you just got to put it out there?
Yeah, trying to think of anything else crazy I've done. That's probably the craziest, is just keeping it and giving it to random strangers in the Costco parking lot. Um,
And so how do you there's a rumor out there, and I say rumor only because I can see it too. It's like, how do you get people to buy a case at a time? I feel like you are like the like
I tell them they're
Megan.
dumb if they don't. I'm like, you're gonna drink the wine anyways. You can either buy 6 bottles now and 6 bottles in 2 weeks, or go ahead and get the case. Even if it lasts you 2 months, you're saving an extra 5%. And then what happens is friends and family come over and they start raiding their wine. Guess what? They need more wine sooner. So then they have to order another case. But basically I just like, hey, I'm happy to make, I tell them I'm happy to make more commission off of you if you don't want to save money. And then they're like, I don't really call them stupid, but I'm insinuating it. and they're like, yeah, that's right. There's no reason not to buy a case.
Right, yeah. That is awesome. That is awesome. Oh, did I freeze? Can you hear me? Oh,
Yeah,
good. Okay, good. Just to make sure. Okay. Oh, good. Is that kind of how you upsell, right? That's one way that you kind of upsell, obviously, that you kind of talk about the discount. Always bringing that up.
Yep, and I'll give away a nice bottle. I know somebody can afford it. That's how I sell a case of Bernhardt. I give a bottle away. Yeah, it hurts to, I guess technically, whatever, it's 72 and you buy it with your discount, you get 60. I mean, hell, at one time our rewards were a little different, so I really stocked up on Bernhardt then. But I still have sitting on a lot of Bernhardt Bookbinder, the original Bookbinder blend. And I mean, if I want to reel in a high, net worth person, I'm giving them a bottle of that. And for those kind of people, they don't care if they love it. I mean, I had one guy, he said, I like to drink a case of Camus every 3 months. I gave him a bottle of the Bookbinder. He loved that. Then when that ran out, I gave him a bottle of the Bernhardt. He loved that. He said, yeah, anytime this comes back, you just get me 2 cases coming. Yes, sir.
Wow, that is amazing. I love that. And so what about the wine clubs? Do you market your wine clubs quite a bit? Do you have quite a few wine club members? And then how do you kind of keep the wine clubs? You said you had one lady who did the 12 bottle, but she still has to order additional, which is amazing. Right.
I've got a lot of wine clubs and I've had pretty good retention. I've had a little bit of fall off here and there, but I just tell them, again, don't be stupid. You're saving more. If you like to try different things, do this. You're going to save an extra 5% off of retail. I said, then it's also going to get you access to the full library. So when you do want to make an a la carte order, because I got one guy, he likes to pick what he wants, but he also, when he sees those exclusives, he wants access to them. I'm like, okay, so get the 12 bottle, and he needs 12 bottles. I said, get the 12 bottle quarterly, and then I'll customize you an a la carte order every the 2 months before that. And it's better for me that he's like that, because then I know he likes nice stuff, so I'm picking nicer stuff in the a la carte. It costs him more instead of him just doing the 12 bottles every month like he should do if he wants to save money. And I make a little bit more commission because his monthly bill for 2 months is higher than would it be if he was a wine club member. But he doesn't care because he wants the nice stuff. So that's one way there. And I try to, at my wine club members, I try to give them a bottle for their birthday, or if I'm close to both the husband and wife, I know their anniversary comes up, I try to give them a bottle, and those kind of things go a long way. I'm not as good with the thank you notes as I know a lot of people are, but I try to show my appreciation other ways. But I do think that's very important, is showing your appreciation to your customers and let them know that you appreciate their business.
Well, and that's one of the questions too, is how do you thank your customers? But that's a pretty key point. Obviously, just if you get to know your customer, right? It's about the relationships. So you're giving them something for their birthday, for their anniversaries, that kind of stuff, a bottle. And then Lori Cox had a question about kind of giveaways that you get people to buy. But you were saying if it's somebody who who says they like Camus, it's worth an opportunity to actually give them or have them try one of our nicer wines, right?
Yeah, do the math on 25% on a case of Bernhardt and look at what I mean hell, I don't know what it's cost, but Bernhardt at the 60% off deal is costing you $28, and a case of Bernhardt is basically $777. I love that number. If you're at 25% commission bracket, that's, almost $200. So, I mean, that's 10 to 1 odds. You only got to convert 1 out of 10 to break even. I feel like I'm better than that. I can convert 2 out of 10. Then I'm in the black instead of the red.
That's genius. I love that. And so do you,
if it makes dollars, it makes sense, Chris.
If it makes dollars, it makes sense. Yes, I love that. And do you ever collaborate with other vendors? That was one of the questions that we had too. Do you ever collaborate with other vendors? Because, like obviously not with tastings, but, do you do things with other realtors? Do you kind of connect and work with some of those other things that are with your other streams of income?
I've tried to. I haven't done any like events just because, I don't know. Like I said, I've tried to put some stuff together, just haven't fallen in line for me. But I do have people that I've talked into buying cases and keeping them with their office and putting a little wrapping card thing on that their secretary gives to their customers for appreciation. So I've sold wine that way. So I guess that would be a collaboration. But, I haven't done any events with people. I had all these big plans going into COVID, and I had a bunch of stuff on the books to try to do some stuff like that. But then COVID hit, that stopped it. And then everything else, my real estate business, and because commercial real estate was dead at the time, but now it's wide open, and my charters have just really gained steam. So I have not had as much free time to chase any of that business as I would like, but it's out there for the taking. You just got to get off your butt and ask people to give you the opportunity.
I love that. I love that. And then how do you basically, how much time do you basically devote to all of your different businesses? Is it something that you kind of intertwine, or you're very conscious about strategically spacing your time so you give attention to each piece?
So my real estate business has to take precedence. That's my biggest, money maker. And, that's where I make sure those priorities are taken care of first. And then, the charter business is next. And then, what time I have left after that's devoted to Scout and Cellar. Some weeks it's 10 hours a week. Some weeks I might end up with 20 hours a week that I can work on it. But
okay, I'm sorry. Scout and Cellar is third in your priority, yet you're the fourth highest selling person. Okay. Wow. I've got to refocus. Go ahead.
And so, it just depends on what I have that week. There's definitely times of the year, like fourth quarter, it kind of is nice for me because commercial real estate starts grinding to a halt fourth quarter because everybody's, trying to finish out their fiscal year and hit their numbers. So the real estate kind of slows down that fourth quarter. The charters, there's still some out there, but they're not as many and hot and heavy as like the spring and summer. And then of course the wine business is jamming. So I might work, 25, 30 hours a week on it in the wintertime if I have, enough time to do it that week. But typically I'm spending about 10 hours a week, I'd say on average, on Scout and Cellar. And I still have to pick up my customers' wine from the ABC store every week and, find a way to get it to them. And so that eats up a lot of my time. If I can get that off my plate, which hopefully, fingers crossed, that's coming soon, then, I have more hours in the week to devote to, new customer acquisition, new business partner acquisition, and the income producing activities.
That's great. Well, I definitely want to make sure we have time for Q&A, but I'm going to go ahead and move on to some recruiting questions because, obviously you're one of the very few men that we have that have had very tremendous success with Scout and Cellar, obviously. And so a couple of questions. One, when you actually reach out to recruit, do you target both men and women, or do you tend to gravitate to a certain gender?
I'm an equal opportunity partner. I don't, care whether you're male or female. I have had quite a few males join. They haven't done a whole lot. I feel like that we do have a little bit of a cultural problem with, catering the business to a female mindset or a soccer mom or girl power kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm all for that kind of stuff, but I think you got to decide what kind of team you want. If you want a team of business oriented people, whether they're men and women, then I think you've got to treat your team that way. I don't think you can make it, real girly and girl powered-ish and talk about that stuff. I hadn't done this before now, but I'm starting to, dive into trying to dial into who I resonate with instead of recruiting anybody and everybody, trying to find people that match with my personality and that want the same things that I want, and, require the same level of, help that I have to give, and try to focus on, getting them. I mean, there's no wrong or right way to do it. I mean, if you want to go out and get everybody you can that'll sell $500, $600 a month, that's great. You're still going to build a business and make money. And I don't care about titles. I mean, a lot of people, I think, get caught up in that, in network marketing in general. And it doesn't matter to me, as long as my bottom line year over year is growing and increasing my return on investment. I don't care. I can stay at the title I'm at forever. If I'm making more money than somebody that's 2 titles above me, what does it matter to me that they have a higher title than me? Yeah, they're going to get to go do a few more things that I'm not going to get to do. They're going to get a little bit more recognition I'm not going to get. But at the end of the day, I'm in this business to make money, and I want to find people that want to make money with me. Hey, I'm sorry, hold on a second. Come here real quick, buddy, real quick. Okay, get in here. Good night, I love you. Be sweet. Sorry. Lost train of thought there. But so yeah, I don't care whether it's male or female. I want somebody that,
Yeah, about recruiting. Yeah.
I want somebody that fits my mold and what I need in a teammate. And that's going to be different for everybody. I think that's, something somebody has to decide. Do they want to accept the masses, or do they want to work with, a certain mindset? And if they want to work with a certain mindset, they got to figure out what that mindset is and figure out a way to recruit towards that. And I'm still kind of dialing into, like I said, I have no experience with MLM, so I didn't really know anything about what I'm doing. I'm going through some coaching. I'm reading some stuff, listening. I listen to a lot of podcasts because I have a lot of windshield time, and trying to find my way on how I'm going to build a business. I wouldn't say I'm the best team leader or best recruiter. I've had more success than other males maybe in the company, but I think that's just a fact that I don't know how to quit. I mean, I'm never going to quit. I might not be successful, but I will never quit. And that not ever quitting helps keep me moving forward and getting to the goals.
No, I love that. And I love, I love those opportunities. Exactly what you're talking about too. I feel like there's a lot of successful stories. Unfortunately, I think a lot of times in this type of model, we highlight these individuals with these titles, but there are some amazing people that are out there that are successful. You've been very good though, keeping, if you were neck to neck with title and sales, holy smoke. So, but there's some amazing people out there, like Kristen Hawkins is one of them, who has like a major full-time job, and to her, it's not about the titles and the recruiting. She makes great sales. It's, to her, she's successful, you know what I mean? And so, because she is able to have that extra income, and I love that. So podcast, what do you listen to? Because I will say, I came from a healthcare background where I worked with a lot of physicians and surgeons in particular, very male dominated. And so as a female, I tend, and I know I'm sorry for anybody, I cringe with the whole girl power, girl boss. Some of these podcasts are so heavy female. And I tend to go back to some of the old tried and true kind of sales, Zig Ziglar, those types of things and strategies. So I would love, especially with some of these females who are trying to recruit males, what are some of the top podcasts and things that you're listening to with your windshield time?
I agree. I like to listen to some Zig too. He's old school, but his thought processes are tried and true and still apply to today. I mean, the processes may be a little different. One person that I've enjoyed listening to, and his podcasts have gotten a little bit away from, but you can go still listen to all the old ones, was Simon Chan's MLM Nation, because he would interview different successful people across different companies, and just hearing their different ideas and takes and perspectives on how they ran their business, managed their team, or whatever, were enlightening. Another guy who I think is pretty smart, but he started a new MLM team, and he wasn't doing it when I first started listening to him. And now his podcasts are really geared towards, I think he's using them as subliminal recruiting, but a lot of his earlier stuff, Dale Calvert, I forget the title of MLM network, or if you just search Dale Calvert, you can find his podcast. But a lot of his older stuff is good. And he talks a lot about systems and duplication. And it doesn't matter how good you are, if you can't make the people under you as good as you're never going to have what you want in this business. And I think there's a lot of stuff that resonates with me, because I'm a systems, check a box, get it done kind of person. And then, the rest of the podcasts I listen to are more about business, not necessarily network marketing, just trying to, round out the whole gamut for me.
No, I love that. I love that. So starting to get some questions, and you're welcome to unmute. Let's go ahead and unmute. Jay, this is all great. We still have more questions. We have to have another chat with Jay and some others.
I've got plenty of time. We can go as long as y'all want.
Okay. So Carrie was asking, can you talk about how you have grown your team and kind of ways that you've kind of grown? Because I feel like sometimes that's a big people that I hear people, they are customers. Do they recruit their customers to become consultants, or are you really kind of identifying and targeting certain people to recruit? And how have you kind of grown in your strategy?
So my strategy's been all across the board again, because I didn't know what I was doing. I'm more hesitant to convert a customer to a consultant unless the situation is right. I have done it a few times. Some of my really good customers that buy a lot, they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with any of this. And I'm not going to try to convince them that they should, to where might alienate them to where they quit buying from me. So I don't go that route. But now I had another girl was buying just a little here and there. And, I'd asked her to join me 7 times just because I knew that I might, the residuals of what I could pick up off of her would be better than the amount of commission I was getting off of her. And the 7th time, she was my 6th person to qualify me for Mexico. And after 7 no's, she just said yes while she's picking up her wine at my house. She's like, let's sign up. Right there. Let's sit down at the computer, sign up. Okay, go ahead, sign me up for 12 wine club, and then pick me out a 12 a la carte that my husband will like. And that was her 600 right there. So I went from it was 3 or 4 days before the qualification period was over. And then all of a sudden I had my 6th person, and she just bought all the stuff right there. And at my kids' table, the same woman told me no 7 times before, 6 times before, whatever it was. And so
that's great.
For me, I'm realizing my time is limited, and I've got to find people that are like-minded like me, and I need probably some people that want to work it from a full-time perspective, so they can help me, lead my team and collaborate together. Whereas if somebody's working this as a full-time business, you can afford to take on, projects and people that might only be $500-600 a month. I think, again, it goes back to, you got to figure out what kind of business you want, how much time you want to put into it. And is this the only thing you're doing, or are you doing other things with it? And figure out a way to manage all that. I don't think it's a answer that can get shoehorned into one box. It's really, multi variables going into that equation.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's been the biggest growth thing I know from my personal growth is just, you don't know. You're right. It doesn't, you can find somebody you think is perfect and is going to fit in that perfect little box to be that person individual. And then you're like, nope. And all of a sudden someone comes right out of left field, and you're like, what just happened?
And it's amazing. One of my number one people, I was after her forever. She kept telling me no. And I told her, I said, look, Erna, tell me who your people on your contact list are that I can contact them. And that was the light bulb that went off. But I knew I wanted her from day one. And she was somebody I was very confident in. She's become, my strongest leg. And, I'm so grateful for her. But I knew she was going to be great at this. And so I'm really excited. But then I have other people like you're talking about that come out of the blue, I don't think they're going to do anything. And then they just shock and surprise me. I got one guy, I can't ever hardly talk to him because he's so busy. But he sells his $2,000-3,000 a month, and he's recruited a few people. He's helped them start selling some. And I don't know. I think I'm busy. That dude is busy, and he still makes it happen. So you just never know where your people are going to come from. I don't turn anybody down. Let's put it that way.
So, okay, great question, Kimberly. She says, so when you do a giveaway of wine to strangers, how do you go about capturing their information? So you're like, hey, try this wine. How do you actually capture that so you can follow back? So
if it's somebody I know, I obviously already have their contact information or a way to contact them via phone number, social media, or something. If it's a stranger, I've met a lot of people at the ABC store and given them bottles, ripped a bottle out of one of my boxes. So here, take this and try it. But I make up something like, I need your number to send you something or whatever. And I just I mean, I'm giving you a bottle of wine. Give me your number. If not, okay, I'll keep my wine next. You know.
So no business cards, no QR, no digital, no
I tell
digital.
them I don't have business cards. That's another thing I like on the iPhone. I forget what it's called, but if you scroll to the top of your contacts list, it says like let's see, it says my card. I'm like, I don't do old school business cards, but I have a digital business card. What's your number? And I go to that my card and I hit share and I type in there. I'm texting it to you right now, so you have my digital business card. And then I have wine emojis in there so they can easily find me. Like, let's show you. Y'all can see this. But basically, I don't know if y'all can read that, but I have fishing and wine. There wasn't a good emoji for real estate, and I have all my companies listed and my phone numbers, my websites, and all that stuff. I'm like, that's my digital business card. Here, I'll text to you right now. And then that lets me capture their number. And so, I go in and put them in my phone, and under a company name, I put prospect. That way I can go to the contacts and search prospect. And I got a whole list of prospects, and I put a note whether they're prospect for buying or prospect for business partner. And then I can keep following up with them until it runs its course. And I either take them off the list because I switched their company name from prospect to downline or prospect to wine because they're a customer, or I'd write them off and move on.
That is great. I love that. Love, love, love that. So, okay, digital card, definitely great. Okay, so what do you do when someone ghosts you? Have you been ghosted,
Next.
Jay?
Next.
Move on. Move on, get over it.
If they're ghosting you, what are you going to do? You're going to convince them to join you, and then you're going to spend hours upon hours trying to get them to do something? Why would you want them on your team? Let them see you go have fun and be successful, and maybe they'll see the light and say, you know what? He's having a damn good time doing this. He's obviously making money with it. Why was I so stupid? I didn't listen to him 6 months ago, and then let him call me back. And then I'll say, well, I need to see if you're right fit. Make them squirm a little bit.
That's awesome. Now make them sweat it off. I love that.
Yeah,
that is the best.
The ghosting used to bother me, but I guess that was part of my. And that's one thing I've learned about this business. I love about this business, never being part of one like this. The personal development and growth within doing one of these, it's really amazing what you can find out about yourself, tendencies, especially if you like do all this learning stuff. And don't get me wrong, don't spend all your time learning because it'll be paralysis by analysis. But by improving on yourself and learning about yourself, it's helped me not only in this business, but my other businesses as well. They're flourishing because of the knowledge and the development and the self-growth that I've experienced through this business. I'm able to translate to the other things I do in life.
Yes, I love that. In all my businesses, I think I've done every Myers-Briggs, disc profile, Enneagram. To the nth degree, and thought I knew exactly what I was. And I've never actually fully, until this business, really applying and understanding and really being tested, on that. And it's, that is probably the biggest, just the most amazing thing. It's made me a better human being, in every other aspect of my life as a parent and working with, it's funny. It's amazing. Okay. So more questions. This is you're great. Okay. So, Michelle McQuillan, she has a friend whose husband she thinks is best for the business, loves to create new cocktails, but the wife hasn't been willing to give me his contact information. I've asked them to join as a team, which I think is the best alternative, but they wouldn't commit last month with a half price kit deal. Any advice that you have to kind of convince somebody?
Let them sit and come back later. I forget what I kind of tailor my let sits to my, I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of character. But I think there's a rule, follow up 2 days, don't hear anything, follow up 2 weeks, don't hear anything, then don't follow up for 2 months. And, show them, that you're having a good time. So when you come back, they're like, you know what, she's still doing this, she's serious. It may just not be the right fit or the right time for them. And it's
is that also how you got, was that your dating? Is that how you got your beautiful wife? Was that same cadence? Sounds very familiar.
She pursued me.
She pursued you.
She gets so mad when I tell the story about how we met.
Oh my gosh. So, you know what? And that's a question too. just in general, so having a spouse that supports you, having a partner, a spouse, a friend that supports you. Do you have a lot of friends who are not in the business that support you? They might not be the customer from referrals, and even as a family. Um, I've seen your kids do drawings about how you like wine. I mean, they're obviously very supportive.
Oh, my
What
daughter's my best cheerleader. She tells everybody I know that daddy loves wine. He drinks it all the time. I'm like, we shouldn't say those things at school, honey.
right? I love that. That's awesome. No, but that's important. I think that's important. To convince them that you're committed. I think
Oh,
Marley, who you're
I have a very supportive spouse. She does whatever I need her to do to allow me to do this business, and I'm very grateful for her. And I've seen the other side of it too, where somebody doesn't have a supportive spouse and how it can drag them down. I think that's a conversation they need to have with their spouse, and tell them why it's important for them to support them, and tell them, share their goals and aspirations. I mean, my wife knows why I'm doing this business, and there's benefit to her in the long run if things work out like I hope they do. And so that gives that person some vesting into your success if they know what you're trying to achieve, and they're seeing you work hard and you're making progress, and they'll get behind you. And I mean, if they're not behind you, you got to make them get behind you. And I have one person that's had trouble with the spouse getting behind. I'm like, look, prove them wrong. Show them that you're making this work. And I said, and that will shut them up quicker than anything. And they're like, you're right. And they've been working on it, and they're doing a great job.
I love that. I do love that. That's amazing. So going into this now, this gift season, do you focus a lot on corporations, individuals for like these types of holiday gifting and that kind of sort?
I do. I try to leverage my business contacts. And I mean, I'm asking again, you can't just post stuff up on social media and hope the people are going to come to you. You've got to proactively go after the people and tell them you have a solution to a problem or something on their plate that you can take off for them. And you've got to show it. And you might not get a long time, but you've got to figure out a way to get in front of them and show them that you have these beautiful packages that you can send all across the country, and show appreciation to their customers, and let them know what you have to offer, and that you can make it simple and easy for them. And that's one thing I think that helps my sales is I'm full service. I don't have a customer. I may have one or two that place their own orders, and that's just because they're kind of weird about it. All the rest of them are happy for me to place their orders, and they send me a picture of a bottle and say, "Yeah, I want 12 of these, or 3 of these, 3 of these, 3 of these, 3 of these," or whatever they do, and they don't care. They want me to handle it, and that's why I think another thing that builds loyalty there. But because I take care of them during the year, when it comes time to have their important people in their lives taken care of, they know that I will handle it and do the job for them. And so they feel confident in trusting me to do that for them.
Yes, I love that. Oh my goodness. Jay, you are such a wealth of knowledge. Oh my goodness. So any questions, please put in the chat. Feel free to unmute yourself. One, I love it. Post and pray, right? It's about the relationship. You can't just post it. I totally agree on that. Your social media is your billboard. Nobody actually goes past the billboard and buys off a billboard, right? It's just lets people know you're in business. That's your open sign. You have to reach out. I love the relationships that you've built and cultivated. And I mean, Jay, anybody who's spent time with you, I mean, I think that's what I love the most. Just today, like just having a conversation with you today, it was like a highlight of my day. It's about that relationship. It wasn't all about Scout and Cellar. It was, about other things in our life that were happening. And I think that's what makes you so charismatic and charming, and a great marketer. I mean, 1,000%. Doing your reminders, that was great on Apple phones. Don't know if there's a reminders kind of queue that you have on what's, oh gosh, I don't even know what the other phones are called. What did you say? Android?
Yeah,
I'm an Apple person too. Sorry. That's great. Reminders are great. And then, get off your butt and ask for the opportunity. I loved that. Your podcast options were great. As you think of them, would love for you to post in Crazy Seller. Would love to kind of get what you're listening to. Having a digital business card. I think you're right. Hitting and sharing when you're out there and you have somebody, quickly send it to them. So you've captured that. And then I love how you then put them in a category. You actually put them that they're a prospect in the company. You put a little wine emoji. You put if they're a consultant, or if you put actually that they've turned into a customer. And then you're right. If you get ghosted and they're done, then you basically just kind of, you move on, right? And then that's genius. I love that. Let's see other questions that we have. What are your thoughts about online fundraisers and doing things with nonprofits? Have you done a lot with nonprofits?
I have done some with nonprofits. I haven't done any online stuff, so I can't speak to that. But I've partnered with nonprofits and held a wine tasting for them and donated a portion of the proceeds back. It was kind of like they did it as a thank you to some of their bigger donors, as appreciation kind of deal, and that's how I build it. As a way for them to get them there and help build that rapport for them with their so to speak customers. And then I let them know, hey, I'm gonna donate a portion of my proceeds back to y'all. If I get any sales out of this. If we don't, it's just a great way for y'all to show appreciation to your biggest allies. And I may or may not pick up a prospect, but usually those kind of people that are at those events, if they like the wine, they're going to buy it and they're going to buy a decent amount.
Yes, I love that. Any other questions? Jay, that's fantastic. Oh my goodness. Paralysis analysis. I totally forgot that. I was like singing it in my head when you said it. Paralysis analysis. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for your time. Again, we have recorded this. Any other questions? I know you're busy.
Did we answer all the questions on your list?
Yeah, I think we actually did.
Wow.
Let me pull that back up again. Well, I mean, what are your goals? I mean, what are your goals for fourth quarter, and what are your long-term vision goals with Scout and Cellar? And
Well,
do you share those? Do you share that with your team?
I really don't. I don't like sharing with my customers because I feel like I'm trying, I think it, excuse me, I think it can be good in certain instances. I'm just as extrovert and outgoing as I am, when it comes to personal matters, I'm a very private person. And so, my wife's probably the only person I really share any goals with. Just because, I personally have to have that, real intimate relationship with the person. I guess it's a vulnerability thing. I don't know. But, she's about the only person I really share my goals with. As far as like if a team member asks me, what kind of goals do you have? And like I said, my bottom line goal is always just I want to make more money than I made last year. I want my wine company to continue growing at the same pace or greater year over year. And that's my biggest goal. As far as, achieving ranks and stuff like that, yeah, they're great if they come. But I feel like if I put in the time, I'm eventually going to get there now that I've figured out a roadmap to build my team the way I want to build it. And I'm still tweaking that, but I'm a lot further along today than when I started. And I just, talked to anybody and everybody and begged them to come join my team, which I've learned is not necessarily the best approach.
So for those males that are out there, because I mean, I definitely think it's a different perspective, but what advice do you have to any new male prospects consultants that are out there that, to dig in, and what advice and tips would you have for them?
To just do it. I mean, I think one of the reasons I'm successful in this business is I'm an anomaly, and guys will buy wine pretty heavy. And for some reason, it's just easier for a guy to relate to another guy. I mean, they just say, hey, give me 12 bottles of that. Give me, they don't want all the, the foo-foo and the fluff with the beautiful charcuterie board tasting with the white linen napkins and all that stuff. They don't care. They just want their wine. And so I think there's a ton of opportunity for guys in this business. I think the biggest thing we have to do as people that are already in the business is make it more unisex friendly in our atmospheres to make them feel welcome. I've recruited quite a few guys. I think I've probably recruited 20 to 30 guys on my team. And not many of them there's a couple that are doing a little to maybe all right, but the rest of them, I had one guy, he had so much potential, and he got too involved in other stuff and said, yeah, this is just, and he started getting hell from his friends, and he vamoosed. And he was doing so good at the beginning, and he had a huge network across the country, and he really could have made something of it if he had stuck with it, but he got too worried about what other people were saying, and let him get in his head. And so, you just gotta be like a duck and let the water roll off your back. Everybody is not gonna like you. You're not gonna be everybody's cup of tea. and you can't worry about them. You got to worry about the people that you are their cup of tea, and try to serve them in whatever capacity you can, whether it's helping them grow their business, helping them, clean up their wine habit, or, helping their friends that might need help in finding a wine solution to drink, or a business to do. I mean, you just got to look at it from that perspective, in my mind.
Love that, cleaning their wine habit, their tea. Pinky out, Jay. Pinky out. Don't you be you. I love that. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Jay. This was amazing. We are almost right at that hour. So thank you for your time. Any questions, we will post the recording in a few minutes once this downloads. So Jay is always great. The Jayism thread, like a duck. There's some really kind of funny comments. So you're the real deal. Jay's a good human. That is 1000%. Captain Jay O'Brien, thank you so much. You rock. Have a good night.
Guys. I hope y'all got a little some tidbits out of this that are worthwhile.
Yeah, I'm getting off my butt right now. Thanks, Jay. Thanks everybody for joining.
Y'all have a good one.
Bye.